Okay, so hi there, everybody. I'm Robin at the Law of Attraction Club, and with me tonight, as usual on Thursdays, is Rachel. And we're doing something a little different because we're holding this as a hangout on air as well as our conference call, because we wanted to give folks a chance to hear what we're doing with the Change Your World program, to get a sense of what's happening with that, and to perhaps think about joining us as we start our next program in a couple of days here. So, how fast can you choose and change your world? It's an interesting question, isn't it? It's the one we all come up against as soon as we start to get into this business of following the law of attraction, understanding it and applying it. And if you've been following us on our journey, you'll know a few things about us that set us apart. We don't talk about the world, we talk about your world, because it's your unique moment-by-moment creation. And that means there truly is nothing you cannot do, be, or have. 2, we don't put ourselves on a pedestal because we're all learning how to play this game of life on Earth. And 3, our mission is not just to answer questions and send you on your way. Our intent is to engage with you and support you on your journey. And to that end, you may also be aware that we've been internally trying out some focused daily meetings as we explore ways in which we can take all of this to a new level and really breathe some life into those words, there's nothing you cannot do, be, or have. We talked about taking what we've learned from our own internal meetings and bringing it into this community as a program. The problem we've had is that organising daily meetings for an expanded group is not without its challenges. And yet we've also learned that what it takes to develop new thought habits, it takes focus and commitment and frequency and consistency. And it sure helps to have a support group along the way. And so here we are, challenges and all, about to start our second intake into Change Your World. It all starts this Saturday. There'll be a lot of discussion about the truth of who you are and what you're doing here. But most of all, we'll be supporting you as you begin to develop new habits of thinking, which will literally change your life. On tonight's call, we'll be talking about the serious business of having fun and creating the life you want. We'll revisit why making a daily commitment to yourself is so powerful, and we answer any questions you may have about making that important decision to commit to shifting your reality. One thought at a time, one short daily call at a time. Let it be light, let it be fun, and let it be like floating downstream, and it will be. Here's Rachel and Terah.
Follow your bliss, and doors will open for you that you never knew existed. The speed factors are the degree to which you believe, the intensity of your focus, and the consistency of your practice. So, recently we've been encouraging you into imagining what you want, seeing through your eyes the world you want to be in. Last week we began with these words. Knowing who you are not only makes sense, it provides answers, it inspires confidence, and it puts you in the best possible position to make changes in your world. This week, with this group, we've been thinking a lot about how quickly you can manifest what you want. And today, we'd like to explore the creative process with you and the factors that determine the speed of the process. So, moving on, from our friend Joseph Campbell, a lifelong student of the human spirit and mythology. If you do follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while, waiting for you. And the life that you ought to be living is the one that you are living. I say, follow your bliss and don't be afraid. And doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be. So, follow your bliss was Campbell's way of saying, decide what you want and then spend time in imagining yourself into that world of your dreams. And as to his doors will open reference, we say this: you literally cannot see, perceive, or experience Campbell's doors or anything else in your world that is not within your tapestry of expectations, because it is those expectations that write the screenplay of the movie playing in your mind. If you feel bad, it means nothing more and nothing less than your current focus is on an aspect of your movie wherein there is misalignment between what your superconscious wants for you, your superconscious being that part of your consciousness that is connected back to all that is, that part of your consciousness that is holding the shape of this movie, the part of your consciousness that sees all of it and knows everything that you want and knows everything that you've ever wanted. So whatever you want and desire is what your superconscious also wants for you. But when you feel bad, there is a misalignment going on there between that superconscious who knows what you want and wants it for you, and your subconscious, that part of you that has learned faithfully and follows loyally the instructions that you have given it. In other words, every time you make a decision and you practice it and you believe it, you quickly delegate that to your subconscious to take over, to run for you, to take care of for you, to just to keep that going for you so that that conscious part of you can focus on new things. And so when the superconscious you knows what you want, wants it for you, and your subconscious expects something very different, there's misalignment going on. You feel blissful when you have sufficiently shifted your focus from what is to what you want to be, such that all levels of your consciousness are aligned around that being place where you want to be. When you have lined up those levels of your consciousness, that's when the doors appear. So, the change process begins with deciding what you want. And we will just say as a quick aside here that many humans never or rarely really stop to think about what they want. They have created their reality and they have engaged themselves so deeply in it and have decided that it is reality, that it is unchangeable, that it is the way it is. And so they never challenge that. So we are here this evening to challenge you to challenge yourself. In other words, decide what you want and don't just throw it out the door because it's something that you don't think you can have. Tonight, and this process is all about lining up with what you do want, to engaging all levels of your consciousness so that you line up with that desire and you step into that reality. So you decide what you want. What do you want? Then you have to line up with it, which means getting your conscious belief choices in line with your subconscious and superconscious beliefs. So the speed with which you achieve this alignment depends on, one, the degree to which you believe you can do it. And we will say here that beliefs are a choice. Do not depend on so-called facts to determine what you believe. That's backwards. Facts are created by beliefs. And then 2, the intensity of the focus, the degree of emotion. And 3, the consistency with which you practice that new belief. And consistency is really comprised of 2 parts. Frequency, so how often are you practicing that new belief? Are you practicing it once a month? Are you practicing it daily? How often are you practicing it? And 2, what is the certainty that you have as you are practicing it? In other words, are you second guessing yourself? Are you allowing yourself to drift back into accepting reality around you as real and disregarding what it is that you do want, that new belief? Or are you practicing with a degree of certainty, knowing that you can be, do, or have anything? So, to really understand this process of lining up, let's revisit some of the examples that we've used previously. And we repeat this first one as a benchmark of how easy and fast things manifest when alignment exists. Waking up. When you woke up this morning, the bed, the floor, the walls, time and gravity were all there instantly. No focus, no energy, and no attention were required. You think you are drifting through life consciously, but you are not. You are drifting through life subconsciously with occasional interrupts. So, the waste paper basket exercise. This is one of ours. So try this, if you will, or remember a time when you have moved something. It could be a waste paper basket, could be anything, but let's use a waste paper basket. So let's say you move it from the left to the right. When you do that, notice that conscious and subconscious beliefs can differ. In other words, consciously, you know it's on the right. Subconsciously, it's still on the left. So here you are. You have 2 components of that consciousness with great overlap, we will say, but let's split it in 2 for clarity's sake. So the conscious you knows that the waste paper basket's on the right. The subconscious you knows that it's on the left. So these two parts of your consciousness know two different things. And so, which do you think shapes the reality you experience? And we'll say that again. We really want you to take that in, think about that. Which do you think, the conscious or the subconscious, shapes the reality you experience? It's no contest. It's the big dog in the room, your subconscious, because it's making most of your decisions. We would say it's making over 99% of your decisions on a daily basis. So it is going to know, quote unquote, that the waste paper basket's on the left. So those two beliefs can differ. Another thing we notice, and you will notice also, is that it takes time and practice to achieve alignment. It takes time and practice to achieve alignment. Every time you throw the paper in the wrong direction, it's a learning opportunity. It's an experience to remember and pick it up and put it in the right place. So notice the degree to which you believe you can do it. In this case, the degree is certainty, really, because you look at the floor, you see where the waste paper basket is, so you believe you can do this. The intensity of the focus, the degree of emotion, in this case, is probably fairly low. In other words, there are no big consequences that are going to happen if you throw the paper in the wrong direction. Big deal, you just pick it up and put it in the right place. The consistency with which you practice that new belief. So every time you throw the paper in the wrong direction, it's a learning experience. So how long does it take to retrain that subconscious that the waste paper basket is on the right now instead of the left? Well, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. The more intensely you focus on it, you will notice the more quickly you will learn it. So, let's move to our fly to London and rent a car exercise. So, let's say you are flying to London and you are renting a car. So in the US, you normally drive on the left-hand side of the car, on the right side of the road. And in London, now you have to drive on the right side of the car, on the left-hand side of the road. Little brain twist there. So think about when you learned how to drive. You knew how to drive. You'd watched people do it. But what you didn't have at the beginning, when you were first learning to drive physically in the car, was the ability and the skill to focus on all of the components of driving to handle all of the variety of events that could happen, all of the different mechanisms. So you normally drive on the right, and that's what your subconscious knows, and so it drives the car. And so now you rent a car in London, and you have to drive on the left-hand side of the road but on the right-hand side of the car. You've got a double change there. So notice first the degree to which you believe you can do it. Well, we say you probably won't rent a car in London if you don't think you can do it. So there's a strong belief that this can be achieved. Next, the intensity of the focus, the degree of emotion. It is high. It is high. Literally, if you do not achieve this, you could get yourself in a serious situation. So, literally, it could be a life-threatening situation. So you focus on it, and you focus on it, and you focus on it quite intensely. But you also know that most of what you need to know about driving a car, you can still leave with your subconscious. How the steering wheel works, how the gas pedal works, how the brakes work, how the blinkers work. A lot of that you can still leave with your subconscious. But there are some important things that have to change, like you have to drive on the other side of the road. So the intensity of the focus, the degree of emotion. And lastly, the consistency with which you practice that new belief. Again, practicing consistency involves two things: the frequency with which you practice. So we would say, most of you have noticed that the more you do something, the more comfortable you get with doing it. A new task, a new thing that you're learning. The more you do it, the more you practice, the easier it feels. The more the body adjusts, the more your subconscious adjusts to the new thing. And two, the second part of this is the certainty with which you think you can do it. So if you're consistently practicing with frequency and with certainty, that is going to be a huge component in practicing this new belief, stepping into this new belief. So how long does it take in this case? Well, it depends, of course, on those three factors: the degree to which you can believe you can do it, the intensity of the focus or the degree of emotion, and the consistency with which you practice that new belief. And it could be a month until you are comfortable that your subconscious has got most of it. It could be 2 months until you are able to really give it over to the subconscious. But we will say all of those factors are a huge part of how quickly you move into that new place. So, once again, you think you are drifting through life consciously, but you are not. You are drifting through life subconsciously with occasional interrupts. Your subconscious walks you, talks you, drives your car, and does not show you what it knows you don't need to see. In other words, it's constantly measuring what needs to be delegated to the conscious to make a decision about and what doesn't. Interesting. Amazing, really, how much that subconscious of yours is taken care of. You literally cannot see, perceive, or experience, Campbell's doors that he refers to, or anything else in your world that is not within your tapestry of expectations, because it is those expectations that write the screenplay of the movie playing in your mind. If you feel bad, it means nothing more and nothing less than your current focus is on an aspect of your movie wherein there is misalignment between what your superconscious wants for you and what your subconscious expects. Can you see the difference? Your subconscious has expectations that define what your world is. And what you want may be different than what your subconscious is creating. What you want may be different than what your subconscious is creating. The question then is, what do you want? You feel blissful when you have shifted your focus from what is to what you want to be, such that at all levels of your consciousness, you are aligned around that beingness. That's when the doors appear. So now let's move into an exercise. So we encourage you to participate here and now in this exercise and really notice where your thoughts go. Get comfortable, get quiet, and think about, what is one thing you want to change? Now notice the degree to which you believe you can do it. Remember that your beliefs cannot be based on facts or so-called facts, because it is your beliefs that determine the facts. So when you have long practiced a belief that things are a certain way, that's what your subconscious is telling you. That's why it feels real. But notice the degree to which you believe that you can do it. And we encourage you to say and believe that you can do it. Think about that thing you want to change. You can do it. Notice also the intensity of the focus, the degree of emotion. How important is this to you? How important is this to you? And when we talk about intensity of focus, we are not talking about where's my stuff. In other words, we're not talking about frantically looking around to see evidence of what you want, or thinking that I must do this 300 times a day, or I have to do something, I have to make myself focus, I have to, and get yourself in a tizzy. We are talking about the intensity of the focus, how much you can focus yourself actually into that place you want to be, and how good you feel when you are there. How much you can focus yourself into that place you want to be, and how good you feel when you are there. And 3, the consistency with which you practice that new belief. How often do you think of it and imagine yourself into that beingness? And how often do you simply relax back into so-called reality and immediately contradict it by thinking of other things that are hemming you in? So can you put those things aside? Can you put reality? Can you put what's around you aside long enough to consistently practice the new belief and imagine yourself into that beingness? So those three things: the degree to which you believe you can do it, the intensity of the focus, and the consistency with which you practice that new belief, determines how long this new belief is going to take effect, to become part of you and part of your world. Because it is those expectations that write the screenplay of the movie playing in your mind. There is no reality beyond that which you are creating. You are the author of it, and you are the writer of the screenplay. So, we will end with the quote from our friend Joseph Campbell. If you follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while, waiting for you. And the life that you ought to be living is the one that you are living. And we would say the life that you want to be living is the one that you are living. When you can see that, you begin to meet people who are in your field of bliss, and they open doors for you. I say, follow your bliss and don't be afraid. And here are a couple of ways he has ended this quote, both meaning really the same thing. Follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and doors will open for you that wouldn't have opened for anyone else. Or, and doors will open where none existed. And both are really the same, because you are the one who is orchestrating and creating your reality. So whatever doors open for you are doors that are for you, you say. So, good. We will hand back to you, Robin, to end this portion of the call and the Hangout.
Okay, all right. So thanks, Rachel. Thanks, Terah. And now just a reminder here that we're doing the next intake for our Change Your World, 30 days of daily contact, daily practice at creating things that you want. So we're doing, if you like, a kickoff on Saturday, another Hangout on air, and so you're welcome to join us on that. Our longer discussion continues right now on our member conference line. Actually, it's our open conference line, so you can join us at that number and that pin. You can keep in touch with us on this channel, where you can join the program in the next 2 days. You go to theloaclub.com/changeyourworld. Good. So thanks, everybody. We will now continue our discussion on our conference line.